INTAR emerged from a group effort in about 15 years ago. Several of us were thinking that there's all this wonderful, important work being done in disparate locations around the world. And they're wonderful people that have lots of experience. Many of them are survivors of the system, and that they've put in time and effort and learnings to work with people in extreme states, in crises, but they never have a chance to get together. They never have a chance to exchange. So we thought that would be a good opportunity for us to bring together those wonderful people. In the first meeting, I was in Massachusetts in 2004, I believe. There were 40 people there, and each and every one of those people was a giant in the field. And so it was mind-blowing to have all that wisdom and all that experience and all those wonderful people in the same room. It was a small country in Massachusetts, and it was one of the most important experiences in my life. So that's how it came about. And if you would look up each and every one of these people, you could see that they've contributed major things. And these are not mainstream people. See, the mainstream leaves that out. The mainstream neglects that wisdom, that knowledge, that experience. And INTAR focuses on it and tries to bring it together. So that's what happened. Well, for one, it's in a different place, in a mind-blowing place. It's in a country that I've only just begun to know, and the people here are extremely generous, and plus the room has different colors. You know, a lot of times in the West we find that this work obviously is being done by white people, and here we have all colors from the spectrum, the beautiful spectrum of the world, and that just uplifts me. And to see this level of engagement from countries that usually have a hard time traveling to the West, you know, and so I think it's really great that we came here. I'm very, very, very proud that we succeeded to come here. It was on a lark, you know. It was basically just saying, well, how about we do it in India? And here we are. Prevent institutionalization and chronification and the manufacture of mental patients. I mean, mental patients are being manufactured by psychiatry. Mental patients don't exist a priori. They are a product of psychiatry. So in order to stop that, we have to prevent people from going through the mental health system altogether. We have to prevent people from being medicated the way they are being medicated. We have to prevent people from being shunted to places in society where there's no chance to come back from, where they're, even if they live in the community, even if they will not have a job, they will not be needed. So we have to create a system where everybody's needed and can contribute and does not get labeled and stamped and also, frankly, medically compromised by psychiatry. I think that would be one of the most important things. So in a certain way, we have to close the entrance to traditional psychiatry. We have to stand in front of those doors and make sure nobody has to walk through them. Well, I am a psychiatrist. I've become a psychiatrist. I wasn't never going to be one because I never respected psychiatry. I felt that psychiatry did more harm than good. But I still became a psychiatrist because I also didn't really like the technological medicine, and I felt that the sort of dehumanization across the board. So I felt, if anything, you know, in psychiatry at least you get to talk to people. So, but once I entered and got trained, I pretty quickly had the opportunity to meet people that approached me not as patients, but as people in their own right, with their own dreams, their own ideas. And so we began a dialogue that was on relatively equal footing. And so, which is what I'm going to talk about this morning. And this equal footing, or relatively equal footing, became a real boon for me. It became one of the most inspiring things. I say to people, one of the things that transformed my life, in my professional life, also personal life, is when I went in 1988 to a meeting of, at that time people called themselves consumers, also survivors, and there were 1,000 people from all over the country, and they were all current or former mental patients, you know? And so I was probably the only psychiatrist among those 1,000 people. And to me, that was mind-blowing. Everybody came up to the days and started to tell their story, and it was the most inspirational thing I've ever heard. You do not get inspired, expired maybe, but not inspired, from your colleagues so much, you know? There's very few colleagues. There are some. Lauren Mosher, for example, is one of them, who founded Soteria. There are some people that recognize the humanity and that recognize that we have to be on an equal foot with people and that we have to be engaging in a conversation that's fair and open.